got the trappings going back to 1966. The end zones are the same design when the Dolphins first got going back in the Orange Bowl. It's an AFL expansion team. The old uniforms, the throwbacks, are out for Miami here tonight. You'll see the offense and their throwbacks on the field. First, the Giants won the toss, deferred the option to the second half, so Jarvis Landry goes back for the kickoff, and we'll see him on offense as well. I know it's been very warm, unseasonably warm, where Ndamukong Suh used to play in the Midwest, or where the Giants are from up in the East Coast, but it's still Miami hot here in mid-December. 76 degrees tonight, and the humidity is 85%. The very slight chance of rain. You never know here in South Florida. Josh Brown, who missed the field goal at the end of the Giants' overtime loss to the Jets last Sunday, set to kick it off. And Jarvis Landry, along with Damian Williams, back deep to receive for the Dolphins. A ton of ex-New Yorkers live down here, so you're going to hear a lot of Giants fans cheering as the night goes on. There's no return for Landry, and the Dolphins will take over at the 20-yard line. Say it with me. Let's get it right. It's Ryan Tannehill, not Tannehill. Tannehill's their quarterback. He's been their quarterback since they drafted him in 2012. And, John, he's got the talent in your mind to do it. Let's watch what he does here against the Giants tonight.
You got a new offensive coordinator, Mike. Zach Taylor, and Tannehill has had more input in the game plan. You're going to see him more involved at the line of scrimmage. Expect him to use his legs more tonight with the zone read.
Zach was the quarterback coach. He's 32 years old, played quarterback in Nebraska. Last week was the first time he called plays in the NFL. They were heavy run-based. Looking for more balance tonight. Tannehill first pass complete. Jordan Cameron, the tight end. Gain of 11 and a first down for Miami in front of Greg Dahl. Told you about Tannehill. Guys protecting him need to do a good job. Snaps have been an issue during the year. Watch Pouncey closely, and that right tackle, Jason Fox, a weak point as well. Handling the ball, the two tight ends. Devontae Parker stepped up. Touchdown last week. Landry ready to do some big-time stuff opposite his old buddy Odell Beckham Jr. And the running back, Lamar Miller, very good back. Here he goes. His first carry is a gain of about 6 yards. John, I know you were very excited about what Miller has been able to do his first 4 years in the league.
Well, he finally got an opportunity last week to show what he can do, Mike. They gave it to him 20 times. He had over 100 yards against a very good Raven front. He can catch the football. I like that Zach Taylor, the new offensive coordinator, is featuring Miller. Good back.
Sims, the tight end, came in motion. He's got the ball. He lost the ball. Can the Giants get on it? They kicked it. They booted it. They fell on it. Knocked out by Landon Collins. And I think Jason Pierre-Paul has his second consecutive week with a fumble recovery.
Excuse me, Mike. That is exactly what the Giants needed early. A signature play from their defense. Beautiful hit. Helmet right on a ball by Landon Collins, the rookie out of Alabama.
Is a catch, fumble.
And that ball is out. First down, New York.
First down.
And that's the first time after a reception running with the ball the Dolphins have fumbled this year. They were the only team in the league to hang on to all their receptions and not fumble it. They give it up there. Big hit by Collins. And catch 11 on the year for Sims. Turns into a turnover, and Eli Manning and the Giants take over in great field position. Rashad Jennings starts that carousel of Giants backs. Eli from the 36, out quick to Ruben Randall. Will he get going tonight? Gain of just over 6 yards. Eli Manning keeps rolling since that rookie year, 2004 in November, when he took over for Kurt Warner. All the starts, 180 in a row, longest active, not just for quarterbacks, but anybody in the league. Top 10 all-time in touchdown passes. Off to the good start here, getting it to Will Tye, his tight end. Back-to-back completions get the Giants a first down, John.
Expect a lot of quick throws from Eli Manning tonight. This offensive line has struggled, and he knows the Dolphins have a very good pass rush. They want to use this no-huddle offense, Mike, to try to wear out Ndamukong Suh and these pass rushers of the Dolphins. They don't have much depth.
Toss, Jennings surfaces for about 2 yards, and Derek Shelby made the tackle there. I mentioned the carousel of backs. Rashad Jennings, Andre Williams, Shane Vereen, Orleans Darkwa. You see them all. Question is, can anybody get in a rhythm and do something to earn the hot hand and stay on the field?
One of these backs has to distinguish himself, and they won't come off the field.
Eli Manning giving instructions to Will Tye, the first-year tight end. 2nd and 7, a draw right into the waiting arms of Ndamukong Suh. Big loss on the play.
Offensive line has got to block better, and Ndamukong Suh, number 93 at defensive tackle, beats John Jerry with ease. All the injuries have affected the offensive line. Jerry has not played well at right guard, and he's in for a long night against the Pro Bowler Suh.
John, the big question coming in, would Eric Flowers be playing for the Giants at left tackle with his ankle injury? He is in there to start. These are the downs where you need him. Olivier Vernon goes up against him on 3rd and a dozen. Eli with time is caught by Dwayne Harris, who will be 3 yards short of the first down. And Tom Coughlin sends the field goal unit out.
We just said it in the pregame. Miami is going to come after Eli with a lot of different looks. The double-A package, 2 linebackers between the center and the guard. They're going to mix up their looks. That time they played a zone coverage and they're off the field. Here's Josh Brown.
And John, the big deal here is Danny Aiken, the long snapper. Zach Diassi, 9 years, 141 games on IR. First snap is a good one from the former Patriot snapper Aiken. And Josh Brown gives us the first points of the game. Collins made the hit. Deion Sims lost the ball. Leads to an opening field goal for the Giants. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing. LiftMaster, the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And NFLShop.com. Order your holiday gifts today and save up to 20% off. South Florida scene as we head towards Christmas time. And you get a look at our coverage tonight from Spider Cam, which is brought to you by DirecTV. Sun Life Stadium remodel. I've been here a lot over the years. This place looks different. It looks great, and there's more on the horizon. Good setting. Come watch a football game. Dolphins turnover turns into a Giants field goal. And Landry gets a running start from 6 deep. Jarvis Landry picking up blocks. Brought down across the 25-yard line. Cooper Taylor and Landon Collins on the tackle. Let's see if the big names on the Miami offense can get it going in drive 2. Pierre-Paul played his best game of the season against the Jets. He's coming back from the mental and physical issues with that fireworks accident on July 4th, lining up in his old defensive end position. He's going up against the right tackle, Jason Fox. Drive starts with 26. They swing it out to get into the hands of Landry. They do this a lot. Jarvis Landry worked the sideline to get a first down.
Go back to JPP, Mike. This is a new defense. Don't forget that. Steve Spagnuolo just got here. He has to learn the defense. He had no training camp. And he's learning how to play with that club on his right hand. Mike, this is a real challenge. Hand usage, grip strength have been a big part of his success. He's got to learn how to play again with the limitations in that right hand.
Gain of 16 to Landry, right back to him. This time the gain is minimal. Tied up by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Well, that's this offense. That's the #1 thing they told us they wanted to do tonight was throw the ball on the perimeter, make the Giants defend the entire field. They don't tackle well, especially in one-on-one situations. They want Landry to catch as many balls as possible on the edge. He's excellent after the catch. And, Mike, he had just 2 catches last week for 5 yards.
He's having a problem with his shoe. He comes off. The former Packer Greg Jennings comes in for 2nd and 8. Miller left. Trying to cut it back inside, but Kuhn was waiting just to get a gain of 2 as Marcus Kuhn joins that Giant defense up front with Pierre-Paul and Ayers and Cullen Jenkins. Haven't gotten a lot of sacks this year. Jasper Brinkley's the third option now at middle linebacker. Hertzlick and JT Thomas helping out as well. In the secondary, tackling will be important with Amukamara and Rogers Carvardi on the corners. Craig Dahl starts again for Brandon Merriweather. You've also already seen what Landon Collins can do. Big hit, forced the turnover on the Dolphins' opening drive. Steve Spagnuolo's team's given up way too many yards. Not the personnel to work with that some others have. But here comes pressure from Collins on 3rd and 6. He can't get there, and in the middle of the field, it's Jordan Cameron for a first down at the 37-yard line, a gain of 17.
What an impressive play by Tannehill. They bring Collins on a blitz left side of your screen. He's going to be unaccounted for. Watch Tannehill take off to his right. Keep his vision downfield and throw a beautiful pass to his tight end, Cameron, for the first down. Tannehill, a lot of mobility. Ex-receiver at Texas A&M. They need to get more from him moving.
Miller comes over to the left. The fake over the top behind Landry and incomplete as Landry was being covered by the nickel, Trevin Wade.
You know, Mike, in this offense, some of the drops are compromising. Ryan Tannehill has to fake the ball in the shotgun, and it causes some inaccuracy. And that time the ball looked like it was tipped by defensive tackle Kerry Wynn.
Giants are missing Demontre Moore, who the team cut this week. So that's a guy who's played a bunch for them, especially the last week. Miller on the carry for Miami, getting close to field goal range at the 32-yard line. So Demontre Moore had 3 sacks. Big deal, you say? No, we're in December. That's 3 of the 15 the Giants have had all year. And Moore played his most snaps last week for Tom Coughlin in a unique package. The Giants going to miss his presence here as they cut him this week.
They certainly are. Moore was a guy that could take off and catch some of these scrambling quarterbacks. This is an area that the Dolphins do not excel at, converting on 3rd down. Let's see if the Giants can mount a pass rush.
You may have heard, by the way, Moore signed with the Dolphins, but that won't be official till tomorrow. It's not part of the Miami efforts here tonight. Landry slipped and fell. Tannehill goes to him anyway. He gets there, did not get a knee down, leaned forward and got the first down. And the Giants are questioning, let's see, maybe short. Maybe they're going to mark him just short. The Giants are questioning if he touched down at the 29-yard line as Trevin Wade was trying to pull him down. It is 4th down, says Craig Rolstead.
Well, Miami's going to go for this, and you see Jarvis Landry, the strength that he has.
His body reached forward. Now you see a knee, shin, elbow, anything of the sort. Nothing comes down. He's lying on Wade there, but as he reaches the ball forward, he loses the handle. So the arm got out to the spot to gain for the first down, but the ball did not. So at the 27-yard line, it's going to be 4th and inches. And they'll go and run it with Miller for the first down at the 26-yard line.
I like that. That shows Dan Campbell at his best. He wants to run the football behind Pouncey and Turner at right guard. They're going to slam Lamar Miller right into the teeth of this Giant front. Good surge. Good finish by Lamar Miller that sets up Miami just outside the red zone.
Miller gets a break. Damian Williams, second-year man out of Oklahoma, checks in. Tannehill from the 26, over the top, too tall, and incomplete for Sims. It'll be 2nd down. John, think back to when the Dolphins won the Super Bowls, the 2 Super Bowl titles, 72 and 73 season. Those games, they threw a total of 18 passes in 2 games combined. But Dan Campbell, it was almost like that. They threw only 19 passes last week. He is trying to set that physical tone of a former Giant drafted tight end.
What's an identity? I mean, the Dolphins ran the ball less than any team in the league, Mike. He wants to get a physical identity. The only way to do that is run the rock.
Cullen Jenkins, obviously unhappy that he was caught on the other side of the line.
Encroachment. Defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Craig Rolstead is our referee tonight. What do you think of Campbell, John? We talked to him. It's an odd situation. 39, you're a tight end coach. Now you get a chance to be a head coach for 12 games to try to earn a job.
I like Campbell. He's shown a lot of guts. He's made some tough changes on his coaching staff. And like I said earlier, Mike, he has given the Dolphins a physical identity on offense by running the football, and they're playing harder than I've seen them play in the last few weeks.
Players have had very positive comments about Dan Campbell. They like playing for him. 4-4 since he took over for Joe Philbin. Has stopped the game to pick up the flag that was thrown. Tannehill keeping here, gets the first down inside the 15-yard line and at the 14.
A lot of deception in this offense. You see Jordan Cameron come across the formation. It almost looks like he's going to block the defensive end, but he bluffs him, and Tannehill reads Jason Pierre-Paul. That's what I want to see from Tannehill. He had over 700 yards rushing in his first few years, only 60 this year. They need to get more yardage from Tannehill on the ground. Nice work.
It's the 4th time all year he's run for a first down. He's got the skills and the wheels to do it more. Giants are blitzing the safeties. May Burnham here. Miller, end zone. Miami touchdown.
Good back. This kid can play. Had over 1,000 yards last year. He can make long runs, Mike. But as we said in the pregame, the New York Giants just missed too many tackles. That time, J.T. Thomas, number 55, feels the stiff arm of Lamar Miller. You see him coming on the backside. Not good. This depleted linebacker core of the Giants has had a hard time tackling in one-on-one situations, and Lamar Miller shows his stuff.
Nice downfield blocking, too, by the rookie wide receiver, Devontae Parker. Helping keep the corner out of the tackle. Andrew Franks. Rookie kicker out of RPI. Don't know if it gets talking about Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, but he banks through the extra point. Miami's got the lead 7-3. Lamar Miller has his 6th touchdown run of the year. Like offense, probably see some next Monday night. Megatron, quiet in the Lions' loss at St. Louis yesterday. Go down to New Orleans, where there have been a lot of touchdown passes thrown, and Drew Brees has been putting them up for New Orleans. For the moment, still alive in the playoff chase. Saints and Lions next week, 8:15 Eastern from the Superdome. Andrew Frank's kick through the uprights. The Giants will take over at the 20-yard line. And that means Eli and Odell, the 2 best Giants on their roster. See if Beckham can start the meter running towards the 100-yard game tonight. It's Miami fans. It is the first quarter, and your team has 7 points. The Dolphins, in their last 6 games combined, only 3 first-quarter points. So they get off to the good start. Now see how the Giants can respond. Their second drive, Andre Williams is the back. Manning towards Beckham, who slipped coming out of his break, but comes back and makes the 12-yard catch. First down, Odell Beckham Jr.
Well, he's been the only threat the Giants have had in recent weeks. He's going to run a comeback. Watch him get out of his break. Catch the football, track the sideline. They're going to look to him as many times as they can, and Grimes has got to step up his play. The veteran Pro Bowl corner has struggled in recent weeks.
118, I said.
From the 32, Williams left. No push. Loss of a yard. Back by Michael Thomas, the safety. So blocking up front. Flowers, we're going to watch him closely with his left ankle injury. Pugh, the guard. Richburg has been in center the last few weeks. Newhouse playing with a back injury for the Giants. Will Ty, you've already seen the tight end. 4 different backs. Vereen in those passing situations like right now. Will somebody step up with Beckham? Randall, Harris, Hakeem Nicks, who's back with the Giants now. They need some passenger to ride along on the Odell Beckham train as a receiver. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. And Eli completes it to Dwayne Harris, who gets the 41-yard line, yard shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd and a yard for the Giants.
Dwayne Harris has been an important New York Giant. He's in the slot where they had hoped to have Victor Cruz. Preston Parker was released, and now it's Harris. in the slot, doing some good things as a receiver and a returner. And here they are, Mike, in short yardage, an area where the Giants have been just over 50%.
See the numbers there, how bad the Giants have been in these situations. Marines the back, Ty, the tight end, is leading for him. Not even close. Bryce McCain knocks him back, and the Giants' struggles on 3rd and a yard continue.
Just don't know what some of these running plays are. They have Will Ty at fullback, and you're going to see on the bottom of your screen from nowhere, number 24, McCain, unblocked, stuff Shane Vereen for nothing.
Sometimes a shotgun-driven offense, you don't get that power block. There's nothing there at all. We mentioned him on the field goal attempt. The Giants with a new long snapper after Zach Diassi goes on IR. First punt snap for Danny Aiken. Back to Brad Wink. Ozzie kicks it away. Short, 35 yards off the kick. They're caught by Landry at the 24. Dolphins take over, 3:01 to go. Stephen Ross has been the majority owner since 2009, his 8th season. He's so desperate to get this right. Hoped that it would be successful with Joe Philbin entering this season. But after 1-3 start, Philbin fired. Dan Campbell takes over. A few days later, he changed out the defensive coordinator from Coyle to Lou Anarumo. And then, coming into the game 2 weeks ago, Zach Taylor becomes the play caller, replacing Bill Lazor, because Dan Campbell wanted, as you said, John, his imprint, his stamp, some definition of what Dolphin football is about. And go back to a guy who was a tight end drafted by the Giants, Dan Campbell. He wants physical football to help not have Tannehill throw it 50, 55 times a game. Here's keeping on the design run, and the zone read gets a dozen, and using the full arsenal of his athletic ability there.
And I go back to Dan Campbell, Mike. It's tough when you get this job at midstream. He's made some tough changes on his coaching staff. He's made scheme changes. He's changed the attitude here. He's made a number of personnel changes. And what I like the most about Campbell is I've seen the results change. And if I'm Stephen Ross watching this, I'm going to give him strong consideration at the end of this season.
First down gain, took it out to the 37-yard line. And Tannehill throws middle of the field for Sims. He bobbled it and couldn't bring it down. If he would have been able to secure that juggle, he was going home.
Deion Sims needs to catch that football. He fumbled earlier in the game. That time he's got to go up strong with 2 hands and snatch the football and bring it back to his body. That's a play Sims has to make in this league.
Third-year man from Michigan State's factored in a lot here in this opening quarter. 24 balls last year, just 10 with 1 touchdown this season. Trying to feature Jordan Cameron and Deion Sims with a couple of tight ends here. 2nd and 10, backfield empty, time for Tannehill. Landry stops on a dime, and he's thrown to the ground by Marcus Kuhn, limiting the gain to about 5.
What is Jarvis Landry? When you study him, he's a running back. He's a wide receiver. Here he is coming out of the backfield running an option route. You have to account for him on every snap. I've seen him throw passes. He's a smart football player, extremely tough, but he does not run a standard route tree at all.
Closing in on the numbers from that rookie season. One of the many outstanding rookie receivers in 2014 who are having good year 2s as well. Backfield empty again, 3rd and 5. Tannehill putting it up top for the running back, Damian Williams. Just a step away from going all the way as Pierre-Paul was bearing down on the quarterback.
It's one of those revealing formations. You line a running back up as a wide receiver and you see him one-on-one with a linebacker. You look off the free safety and you give him a shot deep. And Tannehill, who's well protected, has to make this throw. But I go back to Deion Sims. He had a chance. That's wide open. Zach Taylor, the offensive coordinator, is calling some good plays, Mike.
Matt Darr, rookie punter, kicking it away. Harris gets the 48-yard kick at the 10. Wayne gets a block. Terrific punt returner slipped down. Limited his return to 20, but he was a step away from a long run. 28 yards of net. Odell Beckham Jr. and this Giants offense comes out. Odell was battling a cold.
Yeah.
We saw him before the game yesterday. He was telling us how he's been so excited for this week to face his old friend Jarvis Landry. And of course, of all weeks, he's battling a little bit of a cold, a little bit of an injury. So it hasn't been the perfect preparation leading up to this matchup. The 30-yard line, Rashad Jennings with a run up the middle. He'll gain 9. Koamisi will make the tackle. You know, Landry and Beckham both at LSU. They talk about this hidden tape. Our Monday Night Crew is going to dig this out. You knew our gang would get it done. Best in the business. How about these catches in practice?
These are circus one-handed catches. These two receivers, Beckham and Landry, are famous for this. Did you see that? Look at this.
Jennings up the middle. Unblocked, untouched, till he gets to the Dolphins side at the 40-yard line, where Michael Thomas made the tackle after a gain of 21.
Well, the Dolphins just don't defend the run. You see number 90 at nose tackle, Earl Mitchell, coming back from a calf injury. Weston Richburg does an excellent job blocking back. It creates a lane for Jennings, and back-to-back runs have the Giants in good field position.
Jennings' longest run since week 1. Now open, it's Randall, another LSU receiver. Inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. 23 on that one.
Great play selection. You get the running game going, you run a play action pass, the linebacker steps up, and you shoot a bullet right behind them. Beautiful. Play selection by Ben McAdoo, the offensive coordinator. Let's see if the Giants can rev up their red zone offense. It's been brutal lately.
One more in before the end of the quarter. Jennings nowhere to go. Sue grabs him, brings him down, and brings the quarter to an end. Lamar Miller ran a touchdown in. The Dolphin turnover became a Giant field goal. Big Blue going for the lead after 1, down 7-3.
ESPN, celebrating the legacy of Monday Night Football.
In the red zone for the first time tonight to start the second quarter. You heard John say how brutal they've been. Worst in the league touchdown percentage. Will Tye, the tight end. He'll keep his feet to the 12-yard line. Gain of 6. Rashad Jones, safety, who's playing very well this year, on the tackle. There's Ben McAdoo, the Giants offensive coordinator.
And he knows they have to find a way to get touchdowns. They've turned it over 6 times in the red zone. They've had too many penalties. They haven't run the ball. But most importantly, they haven't converted these third down situations in tight.
Team Nix top of the screen. Randall and Beckham same side. Will Tye in to pick up that inside pressure if it comes. Quick to Beckham. First down, Giants at the 6. Jelani Jenkins the tackle.
Credit Eli Manning. He saw that double A gap blitz. He audibled. He brought his tight end into the backfield to get the protection that he needed. And he threw the quick strike to Beckham, who was in the slot for a huge first down. That's the one thing about Eli Manning you see every week. Preparation that he applies in the most critical of situations.
Eli's hit all 8. Calling Odell back tight as Jennings runs, trying to bounce it away, and wrapped up by Jenkins to minimize the gain. No gain.
Odell Beckham's going to have to be a better blocker than that when Rashad Jones is hanging around the line of scrimmage. You got to come in short motion when you're a wide receiver in these one-back sets and block these safeties. Don't be surprised if Eli Manning doesn't come back with a play-action pass. They're known to do that when they get some aggressive underneath coverage.
Brent Grimes covering Beckham, top of the screen. Second and goal. Manning looked that way. It was covered. Back in the middle. It's knocked down. Pass incomplete, and Ndamukong Suh, the highest paid defensive player in NFL history, knocked it down.
Mike, that's a 7th batted ball by Suh. Number 93, right side of your screen. The Dolphins have rejected 16 passes. And Ndamukong Suh knows that ball's coming out quick. I might not get there, but I can still make my presence felt. 3rd and goal.
Last 4 drives inside the 10-yard line. Giants haven't scored a touchdown. 3rd and goal. Vereen in close to help. Manning end zone. Touchdown! Ruben Randall puts the Giants on top.
That has to excite head coach Tom Coughlin. He's been looking for Ruben Randall for the last 6 or 7 weeks. Who else is going to step up and complement Odell Beckham? In the slot, Randall uncovers against this red zone coverage for 6. Excellent work by Eli. 2 third-down conversions. And they needed red zone success in the worst way.
And a whole bunch of things that will never show up in stats or QBR. All the stuff he did at the line of scrimmage there. Even when Beckham didn't execute for him, he brought him in. Solid job by Eli on the drive. Josh Brown adds the extra point. The Giants respond to the Miami touchdown with one of their own. New York leads 10-7. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. Check out this week's excessive celebration at ddfieldpass.com. Lexus and their pursuit of perfection. And Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Young and old, the stars of the Dolphins' 50th season all-time team. You saw Don Shula there. They had a great event Friday night at a hotel not too far from here. And many of those folks on hand here tonight, including Dan Marino, a decade ago to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, sitting amongst the Dolphin brass. Boy, they can roll out some great tradition here from those glory years.
They sure were. I was at the lobby with Mark Clayton, A.J. Dewey. They were all around. Mercury Morris, Don Shula, what a coach. What a job he did assembling one of the all-time great dynasties. Perhaps the best ever.
Street address of this stadium's 347 Don Shula Drive to recognize that magic number for the winningest coach in NFL history. Landry catches it over his head from 4 deep. Hits it hard. Landry turned around by Collins. Chased by Dahl. Finally out of bounds. Just shy of the 35-yard line. Speaking of Dan Marino, Monday Night Football. He's down here just off of South Beach very often. Dan Marino, most passing yards on Monday Night Football, ahead of Brett Favre by just under 600. You talk about touchdown passes thrown on Monday nights. Marino, 74, Favre 69, 1-2 on the list. During those days, they didn't play in cold weather climes very often in December, so the Dolphins were on Monday night as a regular staple in December. And Dan was great any time of the year, but helped him to those Monday night records. Tannehill from the 33, didn't like what he saw on the right, comes back left and completes it to Greg Jennings, former Packer, 7-yard gain, just shy of the 40-yard line.
And Mike, this defensive coordinator for the Giants, Steve Spagnuolo, blitzing a lot. This time it's Collins again. Lamar Miller makes the pickup, and it allows Tannehill to get to an alternate receiver, but Spagnuolo knows he's got to make something happen with blitzes to help this pass rush that just can't get there with 4 men.
Good 80! Good hot! 2nd and 3, it looks like Pouncey was the only one there on that snap count, and a gain of 2 for Miller's just shy of that first down.
I'll take a look at JPP so far, Mike, playing left defensive end. You see that cast he's wearing on his right hand. He's able to recover this fumble. He had a nice inside move that almost got home. No sacks yet, but he does have a fumble recover, and he's been disruptive.
In this heat, it'd be interesting to watch. Remember, he did not have training camp. Ajayi is the back to toss to him, eludes the tackle of Collins, reaches forward, and looks like he'll have the first down at the 43-yard line. Jay Ajayi, the running back out of Boise State, in the 5th round this year.
Well, it's another missed tackle, Mike. You're Landon Collins. You're unblocked as a strong safety. You're off the field. Keep your head up and make this tackle in a one-on-one situation. That's a 2nd missed tackle that's really hurt New York.
Great effort from Ajayi, too. Kenny Stills on the edge gets 2 yards in front of Dominique Rogers-Cromartie.
A lot of quick passes from Ryan Tannehill. They want to wear the Giant defense out. Spread them out, make them defend the entire width of the field, and force them to make tackles.
Play action, well protected, and the cross for Jarvis Landry. Still going, Landry now down at the 40. He lost his shoe again. He is struggling with those shoes here tonight. Running out of them, but he's got another first down.
This is a deep cross by Landry. They eliminate the underneath coverage with the fake. And Landry to the corner, I should say, wide open. First down, Miami.
Gain of 17, fifth grab of the night. Pedal to the metal here. Tannehill, shot downfield, incomplete. Intended for Devontae Parker, the rookie wide receiver. Rashard Matthews had a nice season for this Miami team as the other receiver, but he has a rib injury. He's inactive for the second straight week. And Johnson, opportunity for this rookie out of Louisville to step up.
Well, he scored touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. This is just a straight go ball. I think he fooled his quarterback. You run that go route, you want to slip that defender to the outside, not the inside.
Miller got out of the tackle from Jason Pierre-Paul, and he's going to go to the end zone for a touchdown. Pierre-Paul had one arm. He couldn't get that other arm to wrap him, and Miller takes it 38 yards for the score.
Can't coach that. Missed tackles. And Lamar Miller is a bad combination for the Giants. Watch Lamar Miller accept this inside handoff and not only score, but how many Giants does he make miss? How about that stop and start quickness? I like this clicker, Mike. Watch this. Incredible stop and start quickness and north-south home run speed from Lamar Miller, the ex-Miami Hurricane. And I'm sure the new Canes coach, Mark Rick, is saying, let's get some more backs like that. What a run by Miller.
7 touchdowns on the season. 2 in the first 2 quarters tonight. Andrew Franks adds the extra point. We just showed you that clip of Jason Pierre-Paul and the missed tackles by the Giants. All in the same breath on this one. It's a Dolphins touchdown for Miller. JPP couldn't get to him. Miller goes all the way. Miami's up 4. John, one of your points all week as we prepared for this game, the inability to tackle. You can put them in the right position. They got to make plays, and the Giants are not. 59 yards after missed tackles tonight and a couple of touchdowns here to make it 14-10. Strong leg on Franks. Knocks it right back to the uprights again.
Well, take a look at the missed tackles, Mike. On the first touchdown, Lamar Miller stiff arms J.T. Thomas in a one-on-one situation. Then it's 3rd and 1. Landon Collins is unblocked for a 2-yard loss. Can't get it done. And then JPP and a host of other Giants can't bring Miller down. And it has the Giants behind by 4. And Eli Manning's got to keep his gas pedal down. They're going to have to outscore Miami, Mike.
Mentions a hot, humid night. This might evolve into a high-scoring game as these defenses get worn down. Andre Williams, the back from Manning. His pass caught on the sideline by his old friend, Hakeem Nicks. So Nicks comes back here. He was cut by Tennessee in the preseason, played 2014 with the Colts. Before that, 5 years with the Giants, part of the Super Bowl championship team. Eli Manning thrown as often to Nicks as any other receiver he's played with. Williams, Sue got a hand on it. Shelby and Sue bring down Williams for a loss of a couple of yards.
Well, Derek Shelby has become an unsung hero. Here's a counter play, right side of your screen, number 79. Shelby with help from Ndamukong Suh. This run defense been terribly inconsistent all year. You stop the run, you get into these 3rd down situations. Let's see if Miami can turn on their pass rush.
93's fully engaged here tonight. Sue's motor gets running in these national TV games, and he's had an impact first quarter plus. 3rd and 6. Manning throws deflected, and Randall couldn't bring it in. Bryce McCain with an initial hand on it 3-and-out Giants.
Bryce McCain, a veteran slot corner, read Eli perfectly and did an excellent job batting that ball away, intended for Randall. Important 3-and-out to rest that Dolphin defense. And here's Landry, who has been a problem tonight.
Brad Wing to kick it away. Out coming right through the middle was Chris McCain. Didn't get there. The punch is 52. Here's Landry at the sideline. They'll get out of bounds in the 34. Return of 10. Dolphins back on the field. Rolling offensively off that last drive. Ryan Tannehill, a good start. His team in the league. Tonight, like South Florida style. We're going U12. Youngsters in the Orange Bowl Youth Football Alliance Championship game was over the weekend. Congratulations to South Miami. The Grey Ghosts beat the Fort Pierce Seminoles 24-0. This is over at Florida International University Stadium campus. Look at those guys, their trophies. The Orange Bowl committee folks do a great job helping out with that. And there they were at the games. They're 12 and unders. Get a chance to be out on this field and see the players as they got warmed up tonight. The 34, Tannehill throws to Landry. Well read from the jump by Cooper Taylor. The safety forces a loss of 3.
That's what the Giants have to do. One-on-one space tackles, and Cooper Taylor, a safety who really was on the practice squad for a while, does a nice job recognizing a quick screen and attacking Landry immediately for no gain.
Opportunity, right? You take advantage of it. Cooper Taylor hadn't played any snaps until week 6 when he played 5 of defense. Played 12 last week, so very little time, but in the rotation tonight. Tannehill slant, caught by Landry. They are wearing him out tonight. Well, Landry complained about not seeing the ball last week when they only threw it 19 times. He throws away 19 times in the first half tonight.
Yeah, and look at all the substitutions from this Giant defense. They are trying to match every situation with the perfect group of players, and they just can't get any pressure on Tannehill, and he's spreading out this Giant defense with these no-back sets.
3rd and 5, backfield empty for Tannehill. Giants rush only 3, they drop 8, but still Sims gets open for the first down in front of the linebacker, Jonathan Casillas.
Giants can't handle a no-back offense. They've given up over 50 completions and 7 touchdowns in a no-back offense. They continue to rush 3 men. They can't get to the quarterback, and Tannehill sees the defense perfectly. I'm impressed with what I've seen from Tannehill, Mike. All the changes that he's had at offensive coordinator. I'm seeing him do more at the line of scrimmage, and he's even underneath the center more than I've seen him all year.
80. Lamar Miller, the back from the 47, flea flicker. Giants very disciplined downfield. They stayed covered. Landry couldn't handle on the sidelines that hot pass from Tannehill. Credit the Giants defense for not giving in.
Well, Landry's got to catch a football. You see all these one-handed catches you showed earlier. That ball is a bullet right between the numbers. Got to make those catches.
He lose his shoe again? He did. Downfield he lost his shoe.
A great play by Tannehill, getting out of trouble, and so he finds his shoe.
We need to get those tightened up. That's 3 times alone Landry's thrown a shoe in the game. 2nd and 10. Tannehill hit hard. No whistles. That might be a live ball as it comes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. There was no incomplete signal for a forward pass. If it stands as a fumble, it's a loss of 7. The officials discuss as you watch.
Watch Colin Jenkins go to work against Dallas Thomas on a spin move, and he punishes Tannehill. Jenkins had a big sack last week, and
pass. Okay. 3rd down.
That was an impressive spin move by the veteran Jenkins.
It is ruled incomplete pass, as you heard, which saved 7 yards. You saw the replay. That's not one you would challenge there because his hand was on the ball, in control of it as it came forward. But to your point, John, those are the kind of hits the Giants need more of. And Tannehill's had too many of as this season's gone on.
Indeed.
So instead of 3rd and 17, it's 3rd and 10. Again, the backfield emptied out. Tannehill slings it to Sims. Got a block from his left tackle, Brandon Albert. Couldn't get the first down. He's about 4 yards shy. Cullen Jenkins, Jason Pierre-Paul over there on the stop. Miami punts.
I'm impressed with Pierre-Paul. This is a screen pass. He's rushing the passer. He recognizes the screen, and he shows great effort and pursuit to bring down Deion Sims short of the first down. I tip my hat to Pierre-Paul. He has come back from a lot of adversity, hasn't pouted, hasn't felt sorry for himself, and he's given it all he has.
Giants trying to get one player off the field, see if they had 12 or 11. Fair catch signaled by Harris. See a flag for the moment. The officials are discussing. I was trying to do a quick count as that ball was in the air to see if there were...
There was no foul on the defense, as that was the 11th man running off the field.
Craig Rolstead gives you the answer. That's exactly what happened. So the Giants, who've had too many mistakes like that during this season, all clear there. So the Giants will take over on the fair catch, their own 10, when we come back. 5:49 till the half. Good one here in Miami. Bonacani among the Dolphins greats here tonight. Giants take over at their own 10. That was the correct call, by the way. They had enough players on the field. Manning, deep shot, underthrows Beckham, who cannot bring it in. Hit the ground, I believe. Let's see. No, did he catch it? Oh, we got a flag down. Okay, we have a flag down. Offensive pass interference. That's why no signal for catch or no catch from the deep referee on the sideline.
Pass interference. Offense, number 13. That penalty is half the distance to goal. Replay. First down.
Well, he's going to be wide open. He's going to run a double move. And he's going to be wide open. He's going to run right by the corner, Grimes. Eli just couldn't get anything on the throw, and you see the push off with the left hand. That's tight. That's a so-so call. I say let him play. Second down. Actually, 1st and 15 after the penalty.
Didn't look like Grimes was pushed back very much. That's the second penalty of the night on the Giants. None on Miami. Here's Jennings with a run up the middle, bowling over the would-be tackler for a gain of 11.
Miami is struggling with depth at defensive tackle. DeAndre Coleman is in there now, Mike, number 62. He just got signed off the practice squad. Let's double team him with Justin Pugh at left guard. Let's run right at number 62, Coleman, who just got activated, and see where his game speed is.
Second NFL game. Played one with Denver last year. Jennings sees the safety Rashad Jones come down to make the tackle, but Jones gets pushed back, and Jennings yard shy of the first down.
Let's see what the Giants do in these short yardage situations. They were stuffed earlier on 3rd and 1. It's been an Achilles heel of this offense. And under Tom Coughlin for years with Brandon Jacobs, they would pummel you in these short yardage situations. They've got to get this done.
3rd and 1. Jennings trying to find a space. There's 3 hard runs in a row from Jennings to get the first down.
Well, that's how you get it back in rhythm. Try handing him the football. A lot of young players playing for Miami. Now in there, number 97, their second-round draft choice. Jordan Phillips out of Oklahoma. Playing a lot of rookies. Right corner, McCain from Memphis, Bobby McCain. A lot of youth out there playing for this Dolphin defense. Let's see if Eli can exploit it.
First and 10 run up the middle and a gain of 5 yards by Andre Williams.
They would love to see this running game come alive, and you see Eli Manning using his snap count to see the rotation of these two safeties. And if he sees two safeties deep, he's going to run the football repeatedly.
Using Bloomsburg as an audible. Pat Flaherty, their offensive line coach, went to East Stroudsburg University. In that same conference, Sue busting in on Manning. And the whistle aborts this play. No penalties against Miami so far.
Offside. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
What kind of years Sue had, John?
He did not play well early. Coaching changed his style of play. He doesn't have the sack numbers. He doesn't have the wire-to-wire impact production I think that he had in Detroit, but he still is a problem to block. He's seen a lot of double teams. They lost Cameron Wake, and I think it's affected his overall production.
2nd and 1. Manning missed the handoff. Recovered by Rashad Jones. Manning and Williams don't connect. Jones takes it to the 25, and the Giants have turned it over deep in their own territory.
Changing running backs every play, every series. Ball handling becomes a problem. This is day one training camp execution. I can't explain it. Simple shotgun handoff. Eli looks the ball in, and Williams doesn't have his right arm up. Bad football sets up Miami for a golden opportunity.
And John, this is a Giants team that had fumbled only once on a running play this season and didn't lose that one. Eli was charged with a fumble, a really sloppy aborted play, if you will, at Buffalo on October 4th. So the Giants lose a fumble, and the Dolphins will take over at the 25-yard line. The turnover and its spot just confirmed by the replay booth. So they're ready for play. Gives Tannehill a shot here to extend the lead. Ajayi, the back, turns the corner on the right and gains 5 yards. 6 foot, 230 yards. Big back John, who started the season with a rib injury, so he's put on that injured reserve designated to return. He's come back and done a nice job so far.
He has, and he can catch a football. But I like what Tannehill just did there, Mike. He audible. And I'm seeing Tannehill do more of this than he has done in previous years. And I think it's something that he has to do to become a great quarterback and take his game to another level.
30.
Ajayi runs right. No gain there as he is stopped. George Selby on the tackle. They didn't have audibles built into the way the offense was. As Zach Taylor has come in, they've given him that freedom.
Well, Bill Lazor, the ex-offensive coordinator, didn't have a lot of audibles, and I think part of becoming a great quarterback is being able to recognize defenses, use your weekly preparation when we need it, and put our offense in optimum situations. I like the development of Tannehill in the last couple weeks under Zach Taylor.
Dolphins up 4 and driving here at the 2-minute warning. Dolphins lead. They're driving the 2-minute warning. This is an interesting time here in this month of December for the Dolphins. Stephen Ross had Mike Tannenbaum, former Jets general manager, as a consultant, and then brought him in full-time to run the football operations. He's going to be the one really helping decide if Dan Campbell stays as the head coach or if they do a search. That's why this last month, John, I think will be very interesting to see where the immediate future of the Dolphins goes after this season.
There's no doubt about that, but at least they have Tannenbaum, who has been around. He worked with Bill Parcells. He did some very good things with the New York Jets. And obviously, Mr. Ross trusts him to do his evaluations carefully. There's a lot of great candidates out there, but you don't want to let anybody that's got talent leave your organization.
Well, Dan Campbell will get an interview, no matter what happens in these last 4 games. Certainly would love to walk into that interview and say, hey, I went 8-4 in the last 12. Go find me many other teams in the NFL who went 8-4 in the final 12 games. Miami plays at San Diego, Indianapolis, and then New England here to close after this game tonight. So a good record's possible. 3rd and 5. The Giants have shown that safety blitz all night. Here it comes again, and Tannehill gets rid of it. It is caught, but short of the first down is Devontae Parker. The free rusher was George Selby who got in. And Tom Coughlin's going to use his first timeout to preserve time for Eli.
Well, what are you going to do when it's an all-out blitz? They're going to turn the end man loose. You only have 5 blockers, Mike, and when the Giants bring 6, the end man is unblocked. You have to know that and change the protection, bring somebody in to block, or get to a quick pass where you can get the first down. And let's see if Tannehill's okay, but you can't just line up in a no-back set and expect the Giants to rush 3 all night. And you got to anticipate a blitz and do better than that in the scoring zone.
He's in conversation with Zach Taylor, the 32-year-old. Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year at Nebraska and elevated by Dan Campbell a couple of weeks ago to take over the play calling duties. So it will be a 36-yard field goal attempt for Andrew Franks, who has not attempted many field goals in the last few weeks. None in the last 3 games. And he knocks that one through to make it 17-10.
I don't even know where Franks is from, Mike.
RPI. Pretty darn good school up in Troy, New York. A lot of engineers there. That's why they're called the Engineers. Giant fumble turns into a field goal. Chris Berman standing by at the world headquarters in Bristol for the Toyota halftime. Boomer's final drive. Will take a peek at the Khalil Mack show from the Raiders and the undefeated Panthers. Adam and Mort will be heard from. Their insider update. Plenty of injuries to update, including the one to Andy Dalton of Cincinnati that has changed the scope of the AFC North and the playoff race. All coming up on the Toyota halftime. Franks with a huge leg has not even brought a return into question tonight, so the Giants will take over their own 20. John, Mr. Sue, what has he been up to in this first half?
Well, they move him around. Here he is playing left defensive tackle on the outside shoulder of the guard. Then they line him head up on the offensive tackle. Keep watching, he's playing nose tackle. And then he puts his hat in the crack between the center and the guard, and he whips John Jerry for a nice tackle for loss. Obvious passing situations. It's time for Sue and his pass rush to wake up.
2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflected. Our stat man Marty Aronoff tells me the numbers for Sue tonight. Giants 2 timeouts in the 2-minute drill. Eli Manning to Will Tye, gain of 5.
Eli throwing it very quickly out of respect to this pass rush. And Rashad Jones, over 100 tackles, 4 interceptions. He's returned 2 of them for touchdowns. He's a ball magnet. You better keep an eye on number 20.
5, Manning stepping up, shot downfield, Beckham! Brought it in, flag is down, back by the quarterback, Odell all the way to the 30. If it stands, it's 45 yards.
People continue to work Brent Grimes, who has really struggled defending the deep ball.
Tack on.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 50. Hitting the quarterback late. It's a 15-yard penalty tacked on the end of the play. First down.
It makes it a 60-yard gain for the Giants.
Just a post route. He runs Grimes down, and Grimes is no match for the speedy Beckham. And Eli Manning threw a beautiful pass. There's Olivier Vernon with a late hit. I didn't see that.
They usually give you 2 steps, and then it's a flag. That was right at that second step. Didn't look like there was a blow to the head, forcible contact. In any case, it is 60 yards total. When in doubt, they always protect the quarterback. It brings the ball to the 15, and let's see if that struggling red zone offense of the Giants, which did get the touchdown earlier, can tie the game here. Running back's Vereen. He's getting out on a screen. Shane Vereen, tech. First down at the 5 with 1:13 to go. And the Giants will let it roll.
I'd consider using a timeout if I'm Dan Campbell to give my offense time. Plenty of time. You have all your timeouts left. No sense saving them.
First and goal, Giants at the 5. Manning, back in the end zone, Will Tye. Stony Brook in the end zone. Touchdown for the rookie.
By credit this offensive line. They've done an excellent job against this Dolphin pass rush when they've needed to protect. That time Eli had plenty of time to survey the field and tie a corner route. Nobody covered him. You see Vereen, number 34, run into the flat, and Will Tye on a blown coverage is wide open for the go-ahead score.
Will Tye started his college career at Florida State. Florida State had a terrific tight end in Nick O'Leary. The extra point is added by Josh Brown to tie the game at 17. So Tye transferred on Long Island in New York to Stony Brook. He's the first Seawolf, that's their nickname, to be active in the NFL. And he's got a touchdown for the first time in his career.
And Brent Grimes, who's been to back-to-back Pro Bowls, has really struggled. He's given up a lot of deep passes this year. Eli Manning, I'm sure, saw that on film. He did an excellent job looking off the free safety, and Odell Beckham burned him.
John, they've gone through so many tight ends, the Giants. You know, the Giants have always had a high standard for tight ends over the years. Bavaro era, they always had a great tight end coach, Coach Pope, for that position when he was with the Giants. But they've gone through Larry Donnell. Remember Daniel Fells coming up with the MRSA, and he's gone through 10 surgeries during this year and trying to just save his life in terms of usefulness of his foot, let alone his football career. And tight end's been so important to Eli Manning over the years. And here's Will Tye, a guy who maybe was a practice squad guy at the start of the year, and he scores a touchdown against a former Giants tight end draftee, Dan Campbell's team. So the Tye touchdown evens the game at 17. Will Tye and Jerome Cunningham are the two tight ends that the Giants now have active on their roster this year, as Donnell was put on the injured reserve with a neck injury.
Well, you've got 3 timeouts. Ryan Tannehill. Plenty of time to get something.
Line drive kick, try to minimize Landry's return. So Ajayi's got it. He pulled down to 22. It's been a good half for Cooper Taylor.
Oh, somebody's got to defend the deep third. And when you watch Odell Beckham run this little spot route, watch Grimes paying too much attention to Beckham, and nobody's in that deep third to cover that corner route. So I'm sure Brent Grimes is frustrated. I don't know what that coverage was, but either Grimes or free safety number 31, Michael Thomas, blew it. That can't happen.
We've seen the strength of the leg of the kicker, Franks, who attempted but missed a 63-yarder at New England earlier this year. They don't have to get all the way down the field for him. That pass broken up by Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie late on the out pattern to the rookie Devontae Parker.
Well, if the Giants want to play playoff football, they've got to improve their 2-minute defense. What better time to do it than right now? Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie at left corner, keying the quarterback the whole way. Makes a beautiful break and drive. Giants got to get off the field. Their 2-minute defense at the end of the half, at the end of the game, unacceptable. Time to turn up the rush.
Second and 10. Tannehill throwing underneath. Ajayi's got it to the 35-yard line. And we've seen Ajayi a couple of times now. We'll get the first down. Miami will use one of its 3 timeouts. And Jarvis Landry, not on the field, just went back towards the Miami locker room. So I was looking at as that play was wrapping up and a flag was thrown.
And 85 both moving. 5-yard penalty, replay. Second down.
Illegal shift with Cameron and Jennings moving at the same time. Let's go to Lisa Salters on the sideline.
Yeah, Mike, Jarvis Landry just took himself off the field. He came over to the sideline. I saw one player say, "You okay?" And he just kind of shook his head and went right back to the locker room. He had been checked out by the trainers a couple of times, but it was unclear what they were evaluating. Remember, he has been on the injury report with a knee injury, but not sure, Mike, if that's what's bothering him.
Okay, Lacey's off to a very good start in this one with those 7 catches early on. Second and 15, Ajayi with the run. Now the umpire takes the worst of that. 27-yard line. Miami got that timeout back after that penalty called against them the last play. The Giants are the team taking the timeout here with 18 seconds remaining.
Well, Tom Coughlin wants to give his defense a chance to get a stop, perhaps block a kick, set up a return, and a long-range field goal. This is playoff time for the New York Giants. They're tied for first with a win tonight, and a lot of football left to be played. And when you have Tom Coughlin and Eli Manning and a go-to receiver like Odell Beckham, it's a tough matchup. I don't care what their record is.
Get a look at the numbers. That big pass play to Beckham on the last drive has brought the total yards pretty close to even here for this first half. Just like the scorers. Giants have one timeout left. Tannehill steps up and gets hit a yard short of the line of scrimmage. And with 11 seconds left, and the final timeout is taken here by the Giants. Robert Ayers Jr. with the sack, but the pressure from Pierre-Paul.
Well, he's edging Fox, who's a backup right tackle, in the lineup for Jawan James, who's out. Ayers with pressure inside. JPP coming off the edge. And the New York Giants, we've seen Colin Jenkins get a sack. Saw a little pass rush, and this Dolphin offensive line hasn't exactly been stellar. They've given up 34 sacks. They should get after the Dolphins.
Tannehill, as he came off, was grabbing at his elbow, his right arm, forearm, and elbow area. So we'll watch that as we go to halftime. Meantime, Dwayne Harris will get a chance to return a punt. He brought one back last week against the Jets, 80 yards. So the Giants use their timeouts, trying to get it in the electrifying hands of Harris. Big kick, but he's got room from the 18. Coming left. Well, covered by the Dolphins, and the penalty flag is down with 1 second until half. That flag back by the spot where that 56-yard punt started from.
During the kick, illegal hands to the face, kicking team. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
28-yard line, 1 second left. Giants get the ball to start the second half.
That should move the ball up, Mike, and perhaps set the Giants up with at least a Hail Mary opportunity. How about Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary a couple weeks ago?
That's right. A week ago Thursday in Detroit, the ball was thrown from the 35, 65 yards in the air to Richard Rodgers. The Lions were not in their prevent defense back at the goal line, thus no Calvin Johnson back there to knock it down, and Richard Rodgers was wide open. Now Tom Coughlin having conversation here about taking that back as a re-kick potentially. They'll do that. So 1 second left, and what Miami could do here is bring their offense back out. Just kind of let the quarterback just take a snap and take a knee and not even risk a punt at this point.
That's what I would do, because you can get a free kick situation. You could get a block. Why risk it? Just take the snap from center and get out of town. You should apply for one of these head coaching jobs, Mike. You know,
Very happy with you here.
You'd be hard to work for, though. I would not want to be one of your assistants. He's screaming and yelling all the time.
You know who's laughing right now? All the guys who worked for you.
I know it. Let's hope Tannehill's okay. We're going to have an exciting second half.
Pretty interesting second quarter. Giants scored 14. Miami scored 10.
Hold on.
Giants have their punt team out there.
Here we go, Pounds. Here we go, Pounds.
Get everybody back in place as Tannehill takes a knee and the half comes to a close. Celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Miami Dolphins. And Don Shula here to be a part of it as well. I know that warms your heart, Chris Berman, to see the all-time winningest NFL coach as we send it back to you in the studio for the Toyota halftime. A lot of teams roll out their all-time team. The Dolphins doing their 50th. Wow, if you grew up during this era, what a treat this was. Bob Greasy there, Larry Little, so many of the good offensive line we saw Kuchenberg before, Nick Anderson representing his era as well. The talented receivers like Warfield, Clayton, Duper, all on hand. Nat Moore, who's so responsible for the relations with all these old players. More current like Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor got big hands. The fans here saw many of those guys play. The biggest ovations for Dan Marino and the winningest coach of all time, Don Shula. They were so happy to see Coach Shula here. Look at this great history of the Miami Dolphins. Their 50th all-time team. Couple of current players like Cameron Wake and Brent Grimes made their 50th all-time team. But kudos and a salute to the Dolphins for a first-class weekend from Friday until that ceremony here at halftime. To the game itself, 17-17. Mike Tirico, John Gruden. We'll hear from Lisa Salters in a little bit. Pretty entertaining half. Both quarterbacks played pretty well in that half, especially Eli Manning going 14 of 16. Tannehill, 23 passes, John, but 102 yards, so a lot of the short stuff. But as we go to tonight's first half, Zale's extraordinary moments, let's talk about what the Giants were able to do in moving the ball effectively with Eli.
Well, Eli Manning saw that double A-gap blitz. He audible. You see the back swing wide to his left. It opens up Beckham for a critical first down. They ended up scoring a touchdown there. And then in a 2-minute drill right at the end of the half, it's a post pattern to Odell Beckham, who runs right by Brent Grimes. How about that throw? They're going to put the season on Eli Manning's back. They're going to have to outscore the Dolphins down the stretch.
And that's not overstating the season because they need to win to stay tied with Washington and Philadelphia. They're not in a great tiebreaker spot. They have one more loss than those teams. So every half has pressure, but this half really has a lot of pressure for the Giants.
Certainly does. You saw their pass rush come alive. They had some legitimacy to their running game, but they're going to need a lot more from Eli Manning in the final 30 minutes.
Andrew Frank's kickoff is returnable for the first time here tonight. And Dwayne Harris will be stopped just shy of the 20-yard line. Let's go down to the sideline, check in with Lisa Salters.
Mike, Tom Coughlin said there were things he liked and didn't like. He didn't like the fumble early that put Miami in point-blank range, but he said we did like that we held them to a field goal. He said we've been running the ball better at times, but we're not tackling worth a darn. So he said all in all, we just got to keep fighting. As for the Dolphins, Dan Campbell came into this game saying Odell Beckham Jr. cannot have any big catches. That 45-yarder, he said, hurt. He said we've been doing everything, doubling him, rolling to him. The one time we single him up, he said, and he hurts us. Mike.
All right, Lisa, thank you. At the end of that kick return, Bobby McCain was there in the initial contact, did not get up, face down. So immediately the athletic training staff for Miami, along with their team doctors out there, Sir Ryan Grove leading the medical charge and all the players stopping for a moment. And are we happy to see that? Bobby McCain is down on the field for a minute, set up, and now he runs off and jogs off. Why don't you watch the right side there? Andre Williams, number 44. That's a peel back block. While there's no flag thrown, the league office may be reaching out to Mr. Williams there. That is not a play that fits the specifications of what you're supposed to do blocking kicks. Meantime, McCain goes out, and John, you're talking a important player for this Miami defense the last couple of weeks who leaves the field.
Certainly is. And Bryce McCain, no relation, will play corner at the top of the screen. Let's see what happens when the Dolphins go to their nickel package.
Now, Odell Beckham Jr. just went back to the locker room right before this half started. It's the toss and a big hit on Jennings by Jelani Jenkins, so a big loss there. Lisa, what do you know about Odell Beckham Jr.?
Yeah, Mike, I'm hearing that he went back into the locker room to get IV treatment because he's experiencing cramping in his legs, but I'm also being told that he will return.
Lisa, we did mention for the folks who were not with us at the start of the game, the temperature's in the upper 70s, and the humidity's very high as well tonight. Right now it's 75 degrees, and John, the humidity's 85%.
And Jamar Fletcher at the top of the screen is a man I would go after if I were Eli Manning.
2nd and 14. There is Dwayne Harris with the catch, the quick hit to limit the gain to just a couple of yards. Koamisi made the tackle for Miami.
Jamar Taylor is checking in to play right corner. They throw away from him. Another quick screen, and from inside out, Koamisi, who's played everywhere in his career as a Dolphin, defensive end, outside linebacker. Now he's playing inside and playing well. Second on the team in tackles.
So no Beckham, No starting quarter for Miami. It's 3rd and 12. Dolphins rush 4. Eli has a short pass to Will Tye. Touchdown earlier. Can't get the first down here as the combination of Jenkins and Jones force the Giants 3 and out.
Important 3 and out stop for the Dolphins, and very disappointing for the Giants to come out of the locker room, have a negative yardage first down run, fall way behind in a down and distance, and not have Odell Beckham.
So Jarvis Landry goes back deep to receive. Brad Wing will punt it away for the Giants. With hang time, deep kick, but room after this 54-yard kick. Landry from a knee at the 19 accelerates. Landry gets tackled in the open field by Dahl. Otherwise, it could have gone a long way. The Giants' J.T. Thomas looks to be injured on that play in coverage for New York. The Giants so weak at the linebacker spot with so many injuries. See one of their starters, Thomas, and the Miami athletic training staff keeps him there until the Giants can come over to check on the 5th-year man from West Virginia.
Watch the left side of your screen, number 55, Thomas.
So it's a couple of special teams plays where we've seen people injured, 1 per side. Let's go back to that other block, John. Jerry and Austin and I were talking about if it was a peel back block. That was our initial thought. In fact, that the fact that it was a blindside block with the shoulder is going to make that block that was thrown that injured McCain legal. So that Williams block was legal there. The Giants concern now the injury to Thomas. J.T. Thomas walked off with a little bit of a limp, accompanied by the Giants athletic training staff. Tannehill and the Dolphins take over from their own 39-yard line. A flag comes down as Miller is stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
That'll be holding.
Holding. Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
So Beckham not on the field for the Giants, getting an IV, Lisa was told. Jarvis Landry on that return in the first half took that hit, and this punt return to start the second half, he reached down to grab towards that knee that had been bothering him, punching that thigh area. He's got his helmet on the sideline, but he's not on the field here for the moment. The penalty makes it 1st and 20. And Miller pulled down as he got to the hole. Jasper Brinkley gets the man who scored a couple of touchdowns here tonight.
These zone reads have come into the NFL from the high school, college ranks. You see the tight end easy release to block the safety. They don't even block the defensive end. They're going to read them. That's what I want to be, a tight end that doesn't have to block.
Is that what you're coming back as? Your next football life?
Yes.
From their own 37, Tannehill to Miller. There was no blocking at the line of scrimmage to open a hole. And no gain as Pierre-Paul and Ayers make the tackle.
Well, let's see if the Giants can pick up their tackling in the second half. You saw J.T. Thomas miss on a Lamar Miller score, 18 yards after missed tackles. And Lamar Miller basically made the whole Giant defense miss on a 38-yard romp. Giants got to wrap up. They got to get hats to the football. Got to tackle better.
And you got to get Pierre-Paul back out there. You saw he was down for a second after that play. He comes off in discomfort. 3rd and 11. Whole bunch of subs out there for the moment for the Giants. Tannehill throws complete for the first down. Landry back on the field and has it at midfield.
That's a great throw by Tannehill.
Landry's still shaking up. Sorry, but I didn't mean to interrupt.
Anticipation. Watch Tannehill find Landry on this outside breaking route. He's going to let this ball go with great anticipation and location.
Watch him here on the sideline at the end of the play. You can just tell even from up here he was in a little bit of discomfort as he started to reach back down towards that knee and thigh area, and he stayed on the sideline. From midfield, first down, Tannehill launching, deep downfield. No separation, no interception. Rogers Cromartie has hands on it. Couldn't secure the pass intended for Kenny Stills.
Kenny Stills, who was acquired from the Saints in a trade, brought to Miami to give the Fins a deep ball receiver. He's been awful quiet this year, and Dominic Rogers Cromartie has a chance for another interception. I'd like to see him catch that. He's dropped a couple balls he normally catches.
Pierre-Paul back in for the Giants. 2nd and 10. Miller time. Left. 8 on that run. Casillas escorted him to the sideline.
One back run, and Lamar Miller bounces it to the outside. You're going to see Prince Amukamara unblocked. Got to make these tackles. New York Giants are going to have to find some fuel from someplace. They have a lot of beat-up players. Hot night. Pierre-Paul back on the field. They're going to have to find some second effort here to keep their season alive.
3rd and 2 movement. Left guard. Dallas Thomas.
False start. Offense. Number 63. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, that'll make any coach very unhappy. 3rd down, a long one, and you have a false start. Inexcusable in a 17-17 game.
Guard play, Thomas and Turner, something you were watching closely prep for this game.
Has not been a strength of the Dolphins this year. Either guard, Turner or Thomas, has played well enough for the Dolphins.
Their 3rd-round pick back-to-back years. Thomas in 13. 77, Billy Turner, their 3rd-round pick last year. Audible from Tannehill. The blitz is picked up. Tannehill downfield to Stills. Stills is in for the touchdown.
That's why he's here, Mike. Call Sean Payton, make a trade, and get somebody that can make a play deep. But I love what Tannehill did. He audibled again. They have 2 plays called in the huddle, and if he sees the blitz, he's going to kill it to the pass. It's great recognition. He communicates to everyone. The blitz protection is outstanding, and Kenny Stills rips him. See if he got in, Mike.
Watch him right around the pylon there, or watch his feet first. Get that ball inside the pylon is the key there. And from pylon, Cam, you see it's just coming inside there, and that foot then knocks the pylon. Yet to be confirmed by the replay booth. And now 2 thumbs up from the side, so it is confirmed touchdown for Stills for the 3rd time this year. Andrew Frank's extra point puts Miami back on top. Watch a quarterback develop, do those things. We'll give you the keys to the car. Put it in the right spot. You got the right play called. Stills in the end zone. Dolphins lead by 7. Safety, big concern in football, top priority for so many of us who are around the game. ESPN USA Football Clinic at the Dolphins training facility in Davie, Florida, and ESPN donated more than $400,000 to advance the safety of playing football, teaming up with USA Football to promote a better, safer game. Yesterday, on behalf of ESPN, Kenneth Garay, Sebastian Martinez Christensen, the voices of NFL on Deportes Radio, presented a donation $250,000 to USA Football. Don Aponte of the Dolphins on hand to receive a 144-page football coaching resource guide, been published by USA Football, presented by ESPN in nearly 15,000 schools. Trying to get everybody on the right page. Touchback, back to the touchdown.
Take a look at this, Mike. They got a running play called, and they're killing it with a max protection bomb play. So he keeps the tight end in, he keeps the back in, he sees the blitz coming, and he throws the deep corner route to Kenny Stills for a touchdown. Well recognized, well thrown, And the reaction by Tannehill is what I like. He did his preparation. He's been given the freedom to change plays and change games, and that's just what he did.
Giants back out of the field. You see up in the white at the 30-yard line. It's Beckham running back from the locker room after getting his IV. Here is Manning. Eli on the dump down. Look out. Big hit, but staying on his feet is Orleans Darkwa. Our first call for the first year back out of Tulane, who got out of the Kelvin Shepard tackle to gain 6. And here's Beckham.
They need Beckham. Beckham has an illness, came into this game not feeling great. Perhaps that had something to do with his disappearance to start this half. Got to keep him in this game.
4 targets in the first half. Beckham caught 3 balls, including the 45-yarder. Darkwa remains in the back. He'll get his first carry of the night. Orleans Darkwa puts the shoulder down, gets from 36. 10 first down yards for the Giants.
Orleans Darkwa. Reverse pivot by Eli and shows good vision in the hole. You got to really study these New York Giants to see who's coming and going in the backfield. I've seen Vereen, Jennings, we've seen Williams, and now it's Darkwa to start the third quarter.
The Dolphins know him. He played 4 games here last year, only carried 4 times. Playing tonight. 13th game this season for the Giants. That time with nowhere to go. And no gain on that first down. Here's Lisa Salters on the sideline.
Yeah, Mike, Bobby McCain headed back to the locker room now. We still have not gotten any official word about what they're evaluating him for, but he appeared to me to be very emotional as they walked him off the field.
He went up the tunnel earlier when the injury initially happened, came back out, but now being taken back up there without his helmet. So 2nd and 10 now for Eli. Darkwood series here. That's Jones with the face mask up top. That will cost him. Rashad Jones had the hit too high.
He filled the alley like one of the old-time safeties.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense, number 20. It's a 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic. First down.
Even if you don't get the actual mask part there, that opening of the helmet, you get your hand in any part of that opening, it constitutes the same thing as a grab and twist like a face mask flag. So that's 15. Darkwood checked by the Giants staff. Meantime, Jelani Jenkins, Miami starting linebacker, is being looked at by the Dolphins athletic training team. So after a first half of very few injuries, very few flags, no replay reviews, a lot of fits and starts and a lot of big hits have taken some players out of the game here in this second half. Jenkins is 53, middle of your screen. Took the hit from Ruben Randall coming down the block.
Physical football game, Mike. The Dolphins doing an excellent job disguising coverages. Are they going to stay in a split safety coverage? Are they going to rotate to a single safety? Eli's got to look for number 22, Jamar Taylor, at the top of the screen. Backup corner who's really struggled.
Flag brings them to the Miami side of midfield. And Rashad Jennings is in for the Giants at running back. Beckham top of the screen. Eli surveys, hit as he throws, complete to Jennings to the 30-yard line. First down gain of 19. Manning just got rid of that in time. First down Giants.
Well, Eli gets a chance to go through his entire progression. There's just not a good enough pass rush. Eli surveys the field, and Jennings, who's a good pass receiving back for the first down. And Ndamukong Suh, the highest paid defensive player in football, needs to make his presence felt here quick.
Safety blitz picked up. Manning pass is caught. Ruben Randall out of bounds for the first down. John, it was one of the things when Ben McAdoo came in with his Packers offense, he was the quarterback coach there, increase Eli's completion percentage. Well, it's near a career best for him, 62%. He's had a 63% year. Look at him tonight, 19 of 21.
He's audibling on almost every play. Watch him study the Dolphin defense.
Giants in the red zone. The Miami 18. Manning pass caught. Harris pulled down. They'll give him 7 yards.
You just have to wonder how long Ndamukong Suh can go. Number 93.
You always thought playing in Florida was very different for players and their stamina.
Hey, no huddle offense. They wanted to wear Suh out. They've done a good job of that. They just don't have enough healthy bodies inside to give him a blow. And it is tough playing in this heat, especially when you don't expect it right before Christmas.
2nd and 3. Toss Jennings trying to patiently wait for a block. Able to get the first down. Nice job. He waited for Eric Flowers, that left tackle with the injured left ankle, to hang in there, get a body on a body, and get the Giants a 1st and goal.
And Suh's either worn out or he's not playing hard enough. He's got to pursue the football and make this tackle short of the first down. He's just watching the game right now. He's exhausted, and Eli Manning in this up-tempo offense is carving him up.
Timeout is called for. Flag comes down as well. Let's see what happens first here.
First charge timeout, Miami. There's a 30-second timeout.
John, you talked about the heat and the players. Ndamukong Suh played 85% of the snaps the last 3 years in Detroit. He's played 85% of the snaps here, second most on this team. You would think the Dolphins are better conditioned because they're down here in the heat all the time. Very interesting. They don't always practice outside because they don't want to wear their team down during the week to get to the game and be dead tired with the tank empty.
No, this is tough on 300-pound defensive tackles that are playing 85% of the snaps. But this is not an air-conditioned dome you're playing in. It's humid. People are leaning on you. They're double-teaming you. They're making your life miserable. And I haven't seen Suh come off the field tonight.
First and goal, quick count, Giants. Eli rolling it, throwing it end zone. Incomplete. They say Mr. Magic didn't keep his feet in before his body came down.
How does he catch these footballs?
There's a discussion here between the two officials on the side as we watch it. They're still in conversation. Secured there. He's dragging that toe.
I'll tell you.
So
I'm
close.
challenging that.
They're still discussing it on the field here, John. You got to watch and make sure he kept the ball all the way through the process of the catch.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Ruled incomplete. There's pylon cam. It's right there. You can see him scrape that across the top of the grass. And Tom Coughlin has thrown, John, the challenge flag.
I'm going with Beckham. How about that body control and sideline awareness? What a play.
The one thing that's going to be
Giants
interesting
are
to watch
challenging the ruling on the field of an incompletion.
in this review is how much the ground comes into play after the catch as Beckham goes to the ground and the ball hits. Does he keep control? It's very close. This part was another spectacular Beckham moment. Austin, we looked at replay. What do you think?
I think this is a touchdown. He has control of the ball. He gets his toe in, drags the second foot, lands out of bounds, never gives up control of the ball, meets the requirements
After review,
of the catch.
the ruling on the field has changed. The receiver had possession, got 2 feet down in bounds. It is a touchdown. New York will not be charged with a timeout.
Add another one to the incredible Odell Beckham Jr. clip reel. The feet came down. We should yet. Watch the drag of the ball all the way across the ground there. And it is ruled in consultation with the replay central in New York that Beckham has scored and the Giants are an extra point away from a tie game. He does amazing things. Extra point for Josh Brown is good. And we're tied at 24. Before we talk about Beckham, I want to talk about that touchdown for a second. When we're going to talk about catch or no catch, when does the ground help you or hurt you? He caught the ball. He stays in control. He drags it all the way across the ground. And by the rule, it's a touchdown. When they start talking about that with this little committee that was formed this week, I wonder if they're going to address that. Just watch this here. It doesn't take away from his spectacular hand strength, his control, his incredible ability to get his feet down. But watch this ball. It just drags across the ground here. I know he keeps control of it. If you're supposed to go to the ground and maintain it, he's maintained control, but the ground is helping him there to keep the ball in his grasp. In any case, John, tie game, and the spectacular Beckham with another one for the highlight reel.
The guy is sick. He goes into the locker room to get an IV. He comes out and makes a play like that. Talk about completing the process. That's one of the greatest processes I've ever seen. Give the man a sticker for his helmet. Odell Beckham Jr. You can't cover him. They're doing everything they can to double him. You heard the head coach say we're going to roll coverage to him. Eli made a great throw. That's what was lost in all those replays. But Odell Beckham Jr., the primary receiver, offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo doing an excellent job moving him around. He's playing on the left side, the right side. They put him in motion. He's in the slot. He's out of the backfield. And Eli Manning knows they got to continue to feed him.
Incredible last 3 drives for Eli. 11 for 11 and the 3 touchdowns. So Odell Beckham Jr. in his 25th career game. Odell 25. Not Adele 25, but Odell 25 games. First in NFL history in catches. First in NFL history receiving yards. And now that touchdown gets him to 23. Tied for second most touchdowns. First 25 games. That's more than hello from Odell in his first 25. Back to Tannehill and the Dolphins, even at 24. 5 to go in the third. Miller's wrapped up. Kuhn brings him down. No gain.
It's the second time I've seen Cooper Taylor, a young safety man, around the football. Taylor getting extensive playing time in this heat. Doing a nice job in the middle of the Giant defense. But, Mike, this is where I want to see Ryan Tannehill. 24-24 game. He's 28-32 as a starting quarterback. These are the kind of games Dolphin fans want to see their young quarterback take over and win.
Second and 9, Tannehill. Complete to Jordan Cameron. She shot the first down. The ball comes out. Fumble ruled on the field. Looks to be Miami ball in 3rd and 2. Greg Rolstead comes out and says 3rd down very decisively. Hertzlick's over there. Mark Hertzlick in coverage, trying to pry it out. It was out, it was down, and a nice job by Cameron to pin it against his body.
Good challenge. Tom Coughlin, he's feeling it on those challenges. He says, I'm 1 for 1. I'm going to try this again. I like this. These coaches, I used to stand down there with that red flag. Everybody's yelling at you, challenge it, challenge it.
That the runner was down by contact.
So
let's see what happens.
Yeah, Giants had the overturn on the last one. If they don't win this, they would be out of challenges. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Capital One Bowl Mania. Log on to ESPN.com/BowlMania to sign up and play for a chance to win $1 million. GMC, we are professional grade. And ESPNFanshop.com, powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. And here in Miami, where one of the 2 college football playoff semifinals will happen. Our coverage from Spider Cam's brought to you by DirecTV. And Craig Rolstad's had a look at the Giants' challenge.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Although there was a fumble, the ball was recovered by the Miami player when he pinned the ball against his possession. New York will be charged with the first timeout.
And they cannot challenge anymore the rest of the game because they didn't have a second correct one. There you see the ball out from Cameron, but watch as he secures it against his body. And Thomas, who's back in the game after being hurt, is making contact with him. So the Giants, even though that was right in front of them, challenged, and now they'll have to count on the calls the rest of the way to the 2-minute warning.
3rd and 2, and don't forget Tannehill and the read option in these short yardage situations.
Tannehill throws with Hertzlich coming in on him. And that almost went the other way. This time they bring the linebacker pressure, and Mark Hertzlich was in the face of the quarterback.
Boy, Miami's lucky there. Watch Jennings try to pick off the cover man at the bottom of the screen, and number 43, Craig Dahl, has a chance for an interception. Looks like he didn't even see the ball.
He was going for the hit there. Wrapping up. Dwayne Harris back to receive. Matt Darr kicks. Turned it over. Rocket shot. 62 yards. Harris backpedals to the 10. Took him 5 yards to reverse field. It's brought down to the 19-yard line. Big kick from the rookie out of Tennessee, Matt Darr. 67, beg your pardon on that one, for Darr. Well, we mentioned at the start of the season we were dedicating our year to Frank Gifford, Mr. Monday Night Football, a great Giant in his days, the Hall of Famer who was in the booth more than anyone else over his 27 years on Monday Night Football. And the Giants playing tonight, we were all thinking about the season and remembering Frank. Our honor to wear those number 16 pins in his memory. We're on our production trucks as we travel around the country. And Tom Coughlin has worn that 16 pin as well to keep alive the memory of one of the great people in the National Football League and in television and Monday Night Football. Frank Gifford. 19, Jennings, nowhere to go. Stopped by Olivier Vernon. A loss of a yard on that one.
And all these instant replay challenges and processes and things like that have given the Dolphin defensive line a chance to rest. And Olivier Vernon makes a huge play to put the Giants behind in the down and distance. Keep an eye on these linebackers up in those A gaps. They've been there all night.
Jelani Jenkins, 53, hurt earlier, back in. Only one brings pressure. Flag down as Manning throws sideline towards Beckham. It's incomplete. Grimes was in coverage, but pass interference is the call. Let's see which way. I assume it's on
Pass
Grimes.
interference. Defense, number 21. The ball would placed at the spot of the foul, automatic. First down.
Well, Eli read the blitz. He audibled, and they get the veteran Grimes again. Number 21. Beyond 5 yards. And first down, Giants.
8th penalty on Miami. The Giants had 2 early, but none since. Miami rushes 3. Eli steps up, slings it. Incomplete as Nix is breaking free. Manning gets hit late. And a flag comes down. And Pugh is right in the face of Jordan Phillips.
He should be ejected. Jordan Phillips should be ejected for that. Rookie out of Oklahoma. Way
Personal
late.
foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 97. That's a 15-yard penalty. And an automatic first down.
That's what you're talking about, John.
Take a look at 97. He's going to enter your screen here. I don't like those penalties. Second time the Dolphin front has hit Eli late. Keep an eye on Beckham. He has gone deep twice tonight against Grimes.
47-yard line, inside handoff, Jennings. We've seen some of the nice patience by Jennings tonight, waiting for a crease or a cutback lane to develop. He'll gain just about 5 yards on that one.
Well, this tempo is taking its toll on the Dolphins. And Ndamukong Suh at nose tackle. They're going to double team him with this power play. They're not shying away from Suh now. They know they have him on the ropes physically. Fatigue has set in.
Time of possession pretty even. Number of plays run pretty even. Here in the third, it is Ruben Randall. Got a block from Beckham. First down inside the Miami 40. They'll bring it to the 37-yard line on the gain of 11.
Eli's got a quick trigger. You're in a shotgun. You got to be able to catch and release. Oftentimes, Manning doesn't even get the laces. This ball comes out like Derek Jeter, the ex-New York Yankee, Mike. Well done.
37, Eli contacted as he threw. Completes another one. Jennings in the middle of the field. Just a short gain of 2. Olivier Vernon tried to get to the quarterback.
If you put a clock on Eli Manning, that ball is coming out in 1.8 seconds or quicker. This Dolphin rush just can't get there. They've got to bat a pass down, got to get their hands up and try to reject one of these quick throws.
That one incompletion was the penalty. Hand signal to Beckham here. There'll be a run on the other side to Jennings. We get close to the 30-yard line. Manning is 9 for 9, John, here in this third quarter.
And Ndamukong Suh checks back into the game. You just sense the fatigue across the board in this Dolphin defense. Not a lot of life. Here they come up the middle with those 2 linebackers again. Let's see what Eli has for him this time.
Get out of his hands quick. That pass incomplete for Beckham, who had it on his hands, and then Grimes got physical with him. And it's the first incompletion thrown by Manning in the half. And we'll see if the Giants go for a long field goal.
Nice play by Grimes. It's what the great corners have. They have a short-term memory. You get beat deep, give up a couple plays. You got to keep playing against these great receivers. And that's nice work from Brent Grimes when they really needed it.
See how good Brown has been this year from 49. Drifting right, no good. Just the second miss this year for Brown. Again, we mentioned earlier there's a new snapper, Zach Diassi, who's been here for 9 years. Danny Aiken, the snapper. Everything in that part of the operation looked pretty good. One just pushed to the right. And we remain tied at 24. "39-year-old Dan Campbell is a former tight end, full of energy and passion." You see the special teams group discussing what happened there. Flag down as Tannehill was taken off.
False start. Offense. Number 63. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Second time, Dallas Thomas.
Terrible penalties. Simple penalties. False starts. Pre-snap penalties. No excuse for them, especially on the first play of a series. Jarvis Landry has checked back into the game. So has Lamar Miller. Don't forget about Lamar Miller if you're Miami. 11 rushes, 87 yards. He's been hard to tackle tonight.
Giants' Marcus Kuhn went off to the locker room. Had a good impact on that defensive front. Right out to Landry. Made one man miss. Landon Collins wasn't having any more of that. Rogers Cromartie couldn't get the shifty Landry.
It's hard to be critical of this missed tackle, but Jarvis Landry, he catches more passes at or behind the line of scrimmage than any receiver I've ever seen ever. And man, is he good after the catch.
He turned into mini punt returns with that guy. Let's go.
Yes, he does.
Go get him on the edge. Miami trying to keep its slim hopes alive. The Giants trying to tie for the divisional lead, all even at 24 as we go to the fourth.
ESPN, celebrating the legacy of Monday Night Football.
Giants trying to tie. Somebody's going to win this division. 6 and 7 the best right now.
Hey, there's 21 teams in pro football that have a losing record, so it's not just the NFC East that's not up to snuff right now.
Fourth quarter begins. 2nd and 11. Tannehill underneath. Landry the catch. He's just a couple of yards shy of the first down. It will be 3rd down.
I love Landry. He plays everywhere, Mike. Watch this. He's the kickoff return man. He's their punt return man. Here he is playing in the backfield as a running back. Now he's the flanker in a close formation. Here he is playing split end. Now he's the number 3 man in the slot. And on third down, he does a great job. Hard guy to find, hard guy to defend, Jarvis Landry.
Check him out here on 3rd and 2. They go the other way and pick up the first down. And a nice move by Damian Williams, who will be just on the Giants' side of midfield. Waniunga making the tackle here. So it'll be a first down at the 49-yard line.
Fancy little man-to-man beater. Jordan Cameron lined up as a wide receiver. Comes down and rubs off the linebacker who's covering Williams. Nice design. I'm impressed with Zach Taylor, this young offensive coordinator. He's only calling his 2nd game. He's given Tannehill some opportunities to audible. He's put him in some check-with-me situations and been pretty impressive. They had some balance running and passing.
Landry comes back to the sideline one more time after that play. Tannehill on the boot, fires complete. Spinning move by Greg Jennings. He's brought down at the 34-yard line. You mentioned, John, Zach Taylor. So his father-in-law is Mike Sherman, who was the offensive coordinator here with Joe Philbin. Mike's daughter, Sarah, is married to Zach. Zach came in, my favorite moment of this week. What did he hand you?
He handed me my old Buccaneer quarterback book. He was one of my rookie quarterbacks in minicamp. He kept my book. At least he took notes.
A great 10 years later. He's been traipsing that all over the country.
Proud of his kid. Yeah. Proud of him. You know, you don't just talk about Dan Campbell. Talk about Zach Miller, Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator. I wouldn't let these young coaches out of here.
2nd and 5. Here's Landry back in. Pierre Paul waiting. Couldn't wrap him up. No gain. As Kerry Wynn comes over to finally bring down Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry. That time they hand him the ball on a reverse, and JPP slow plays it. Just can't quite wrap up. Still fighting through that club that he's wearing on his right hand. Don't know how long he's going to wear that. Don't know if he'll ever take that off, but it certainly inhibits his play.
There's 3rd and 5, 3 receivers to the top. The Giants are rushing 4. They flush Tannehill, who points, directs, fires downfield, and it's incomplete. Devontae Parker couldn't win the 50-50 ball with Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, and Miami will punt it away.
DRC has played well tonight. And Parker, the rookie out of Louisville, has been invisible. See your quarterback scrambling, uncovered. Not good enough by Parker. You're never going to beat a veteran corner with that route running.
Tennessee rookie Matt Darr trying to balance that inside the 20 and touchback number. At the bounce. It'll be inside the 5. Walt Aikens down there to take care of the good work from the rookie Darr, leaving Eli 96 yards to go. ESPN's Monday Night Football, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports, clean, crisp, Coors Light. Gillette, 25 million guys have switched to the Gillette Flex Ball. Will you? At NFL.com/Pro Bowl ballot, voting for the 2016 Pro Bowl ends tonight. Vote now. Christmas parade, South Beach style. A lot of Giant fans in the house tonight. Giants' first down run is a run by Jennings for the first down. So from their own 4, they gain 12 to the 16.
That's how you come off your own goal line. Hand the ball to a 230-pound back. Let him run to daylight. He did a beautiful job cutting it back and at real speed. How about Shamil Gary, number 27, making a one-on-one tackle?
Gary in. A lot of players rotating through both defenses at this point. Manning, deep shot, back up, wide open. Odell, so long. Giants lead.
Blown coverage. Odell Beckham destroys him.
And with Ray Lewis in the house, he gave it the Ray Lewis dance in the end zone. 84 yards. Injured Giant back there, the left tackle, Eric Flowers, who was banged up, coming in with a left ankle injury, holding that ankle as the Giants lead by 6.
Bottom of the screen, you're just going to see a slant route. I have no idea what Rashad Jones, we talked about the corner number 22, Jamar Taylor, a backup who checked into the game because of the injury. Jones and Taylor blow a coverage. And if you blow a coverage against Odell Beckham, Eli won't miss that one.
An 84-yard touchdown for Eli Manning's 4th touchdown pass of the night. Beckham had the 87-yarder earlier this season against the Pats. So add the 84 to that, at a 72-yarder last week against the Jets, and now has given the Giants the 6-point lead. Flowers limps off with the help of the Giants athletic training staff, as the 2 guys from Isidore Newman High School in New Orleans celebrate a 12th touchdown catch of the year. Extra point good from Brown. Penalty marker down with pushing and shoving amongst the interior linemen after the extra point. Craig Rolstad, the referee, came to say it was good. And one of the rest of his crew let him know we got something else going on behind the play.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team, number 73, that penalty would be enforced on the kickoff. Timeout.
Marshall Newhouse with the flag. The Giants go 2 plays in 96 yards. Their home run hitter touched them all again, and the Giants lead by 7. Well, these 2 roommates at LSU came out of the same draft class, the same position from the same school. I've been so looking forward to being opponents for the first time. And these 2 young men who met at a 7-on-7 passing camp back in 10th grade and immediately knew they connected and they would be friends. Boy, they put up a show tonight. 15 catches between them. Beckham has scored touchdowns for the Giants to tie the game at 24, and that 84-yarder giving New York a 7-point lead. The Newhouse penalty is going to give Landry a chance to return this kickoff, but he doesn't get it. Instead, it is Damian Williams on the return. Williams goes through the tackle of Williams, but then is cleaned up by Cooper Taylor.
Well, in this coverage, Odell Beckham, he just runs a slant and go. And you see the safety, Rashad Jones, he jumps the slant. And number 22, the right corner, Jamar Taylor, has got to protect his safety. Didn't do it, blew the coverage, and Odell Beckham is off to the races. But Bobby McCain, the starting corner, got hurt earlier. Backup corner, Taylor into the game. You got to continue to go after him.
Bobby McCain got hurt on that kickoff to start the 3rd quarter and did not come back. Now, the Giants have some injuries up front with the D-line as Miller slams it in there for a couple of yards. Marcus Kuhn has a knee injury. He's now been determined out. We told you he went to the locker room earlier. George Selvey, during that last drive, was walked up the tunnel, and he is being evaluated for a concussion. So the Giants up front, remember, Demontre Moore was cut by the team, signed with Miami. That doesn't become official until tomorrow. So he's not here. Kuhn's out. Selvey's out. 2nd and 8, Tannehill. Rolling into pressure, just getting rid of it. Bench back, look out. Took out Tom Coughlin on that play. As the coach went down along with the other Giants, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. TC gets back up. Coach ready to go.
Blitz off the edge, and Jason Pierre-Paul to the inside. Tom Coughlin going down on the sideline. Let's hope he's all right. 3rd down and 8. Giants struggling to get their rushers in here. Nikita Whitlock, number 49, their fullback, has checked in to rush the passer. Watch out for the spin move, Mike.
Play clock running down. In time, Tannehill gets it off. He's got time. Nobody's open, though. Now he scrambles, throws, and it's caught by Landry at the 45-yard line. 1st down and a pickup of 25.
What a great job by Tannehill on 3rd and 8 in the pocket. Resets, keeps his eyes downfield, and that's how you react to a quarterback that's scrambling. Watch Landry. He sees his quarterback in trouble. He breaks off his pattern and comes back for a critical first down.
The show with 2 receivers continues. Big plays needed here in the 4th. Read option keep. Tannehill turned the corner. Hit hard out of bounds. Gain of 7. Landon Collins made that hit. It's a quarterback who has taken a ton of big shots in his first 4 years.
Going to take shots when you run these zone reads. It's going to be a keep. They're going to read the end man on the line of scrimmage. And if he slants, you keep the football. And Tannehill takes off to the outside, and you're going to take some hits when you run the football. But let's see if the Giants can protect a lead. They've been unable to finish games with leads in the 4th quarter.
Damian Williams, the back now, has the screen. Pouncey out there to block. Williams, good job spinning to the 31-yard line. 8-yard first down gain.
Nice work by Williams, who is a pass receiving specialist out of the backfield. Trevin Wade, number 31, right side of your screen, has a chance to make this tackle. Can't get it done, and Williams gets the first down. Expect Steve Spagnuolo to blitz. He is a well-known crunch time blitzer at the end of the game.
He's got to help his guys. Got Montori Hughes and Jay Bromley, the end of the defensive line rotation out there because of the other injuries. Jai stops for no gain. Pierre Paul, who is working hard here tonight.
He certainly is, Mike. He came from the backside there. It showed his old form. He got off the ball quickly, beat Deion Sims across his face. That's a nice play. You're a tight end. You have to deal with this man as a run defender. And his get off is what makes him special.
Second and 10. Tannehill has time. Looking for a second reaction play with Landry. Jarvis Landry couldn't get it, covered by Trevin Wade.
That's a strange blitz that time by the Giants. They have people dropping out of there. It's half man, half zone. It's Jarvis Landry on a scramble drill, and that's how you plaster to your man when the quarterback scrambles. Trevin Wade doing a nice job as the nickel corner for the New York Giants.
Drafted in the 7th round by Cleveland. Cut by New Orleans on the Lions practice squad. A guy who has opened the eyes of Steve Spagnuolo as the season has gone on. This is 3rd and 10 in field goal range, but down 7. Tannehill dropped by Williams. Damian Williams couldn't hang on. We have a flag down back by the quarterback. It's going to be a hold. Let's see what Coughlin does here, because it would take the ball back to the 41, take them out of field goal range in all likelihood. Let's see what they decide. They're going to push him back.
Holding. Offense. Number 74. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
That's Fox at right tackle, filling in for Juwan James. It was a stunt. Whitlock 49 coming up inside. You see Fox 74 on the holding call, and it's 3rd and 20 if you're Miami. Try to get some kind of completion, at least give yourself a chance at a field goal.
Love Nikita Whitlock out of Wake Forest as a defensive end, made the team as a fullback. It's his 40th snap of defense he's played. He's played 100 at fullback, two-way playing. Giants digging deep here. After the Dolphins' 11th penalty of the night, Tannehill in the middle for Cameron. Has it broken up by Dahl.
What a great play by Dahl. Dahl, the ex-St. Louis Ram, who knows Steve Spagnuolo's defense, filling in for Brandon Merriweather, timed it perfectly. Great play by Dahl.
And what a decision by Tom Coughlin there, John. It's a 7-point game, so a field goal only would have made it 4, but changes the dynamics of the game when Miami gets the ball back later on. And this decision to push him back means there's no field goal attempt. It's a punt by Matt Darr, whose last one pinned the Giants inside their own 5-yard line. Harris going to let this one go. The bounce is nearly identical, and it'll be stopped at the 3. Giants went 96 yards in 2 plays last drive. What will they do from 97 yards? Tom Coughlin's the oldest coach in professional sports in North America. He's 69 years old. Easy to take shots that this is the guy who wears the face of those late Giants losses this year. I always ask this question: who do you have after Beckham and Eli? Name the next best Giants. The personnel has not been there. Tom Coughlin has a team of a lot of guys off the side of the road contending here for the lead in the NFC East with 3 weeks left after tonight.
Yeah, this isn't the most talented Giant team he's had, and Tom Coughlin's not worrying about getting fired. Don Shula got fired. Tom Landry got fired. Chuck Noll got fired. You can't worry about getting fired. He's going to go in the Ring of Honor for the New York Giants, possibly a Hall of Fame coach. If you don't want Tom Coughlin to coach your football team, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters Mike? I don't know. This guy's one of the all-time greats and great people. You got to credit his Giants. A lot of backup players in this heat have played as hard as they can.
And that weather's starting to take a toll both ways. Jelani Jenkins was slow to get up on that play for Miami, and the officials are being very conscious of that over the last couple of weeks, making sure they're another set of eyes trying to help the training staff. So Jenkins comes off. You hear from the Giant fans. This is the Giants' first visit to Miami in 19 years. The NFL has this now quadrennial schedule where you play a team from the other conference every 4 years. So you visit at a minimum of 8 years, except the Giants visit here back in 07 was a game moved to London. So Giant fans haven't seen their team down here since 96. 2nd and 8. Jennings will gain a couple of yards, and John, I laugh at 49 Whitlock, who was out there on the last series as a 3rd down pass rusher. Now he's out there as a fullback trying to lead the way for the running back Jennings.
I think Tom Coughlin would love to see his offense finish this game. Put Miami away. Eli Manning has more more touchdowns than incompletions in this game. He's been tremendous. He needs to find another completion to keep this drive alive.
Beckham, who burned Jamar Taylor before, matched up with him bottom of the screen. There is safety help off your screen. 3rd and 5. Eli in trouble, hit as he threw incomplete. Vernon was coming to get the quarterback. Manning got rid of it in time, and Miami needed a 3 and out, and they get it just under 6 minutes left in regulation.
Well, when Miami needs a pass rush, it's been Olivier Vernon. That time he beats rookie Eric Flowers with ease. Those are 2 ex-Miami Hurricanes, and that's a critical stop for the Dolphins. And somehow Jarvis Landry continues to go, Mike. He is struggling physically with all the work that he's had tonight.
Wing kicking out of his own end zone. Landry's back at his own 35, perhaps to get a run up, to get a running start at this ball. Wing gets rid of it. Landry on the run. Can't get to it. On the bounce, he'll let it go, and it stops shy of midfield. So the Dolphins take over in Giants territory. 5:50 left. Their defense needed a 3 and out, and the hit by Olivier Vernon on Manning helped force that. Giant fans have seen their team here all too often. Leads against Dallas and Atlanta, against New Orleans, against New England, against the Jets. The inability to close it out. Now can Tom Coughlin's defense come up with the plays? Eli's done enough in the air. 4 touchdown passes. Can the D stop Miami? Great field position for Ryan Tannehill. First down throw is off the hands of Landry. Incomplete, and a flag on Landry for throwing Trevin Wade after the play.
It's just frustration. Wade, who has covered Landry on back-to-back snaps.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 14. That's a 15-yard penalty. The down counts. Second down.
That's one of the worst penalties you'll see.
Miami's had a few of those, John, in the second half. They have now 12 penalties for over 100 yards here on the night.
And Dan Campbell took him out of the game. It's going to have to be one of these young receivers that has to step up.
Landry, who already has an unsportsmanlike and a taunting, his third 15-yard flag this season. Tannehill trying to make up for it over the middle. It's hung on to by Devontae Parker at midfield. Gets a lot of the penalty yardage back, but it will be third down and 11 because the down did count on the Landry flag.
There's Parker, the rookie out of Louisville. Haven't called his name much. He's been held in check by Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, and Landry back in the game in this short yardage situation. Oh, it is third and 11. I'm sorry, Mike.
After that flag, so we'll see Landry going to tone. He's got Trevin Wade again covering him in the slot. Giants bring pressure. Tannehill steps up, throws on the run for Landry, incomplete. He's targeted him a lot tonight, a ton of targets for Landry.
Tannehill disgusted with himself. He bought time in the pocket. Landry was breaking free late. And Tannehill just missed him.
41 throws by Tannehill. That's the 18th time that he targeted Landry. He couldn't pull that one in, so inside of 5 minutes, right around midfield, Dar will try to pin the Giants inside the 5 for the third time in this half. Harris, feet on the 10, discipline, gonna let it go, and no. It's the man, not the ball. And as the slide was happening by Zach Vigil, we'll watch closely for the feet here. He's got it, slides across the goal line with that ankle, so that makes it a touchback, and Giants get it out at the 20. Although keeping the ball there is really good. If we were playing on Saturdays in college ball, that would have been clean. Cruz, it's the man, not the ball.
Time for Miami to crowd the line of scrimmage. Do not let Eli hand the ball off and control the clock.
Left tackle Eric Flowers out because of that ankle, so Justin Pugh, this key moment, has to pop over to left tackle, change to the Giant O-line. Manning's going to roll the opposite way, throw complete to Beckham, just shy of the first down.
It's a nice play by Beckham. On the sideline. Watch him start to the flat. Then he's going to push up to back McCain off of him, and he sets down beautifully for a gain of 9. That's a really good call by Ben McAdoo. Play action pass. Dolphins were expecting run, fooled them.
It's Olivier Vernon working off the right side of the Miami defense against the left tackle Justin Pugh. Played that position when he came out of Syracuse, now moved into guard. Second down run is Jennings for nothing with 4:25 to go. It's a Neville Hewitt tackle, rookie out of Marshall.
Here comes the big boys. Whitlock, 49 at fullback. Number 86, Jerome Cunningham checks in at tight end. This has been an area the Giants have struggled. Their short yardage offense. Will Eli hand it to the big back in a two-back set, or will he use play action?
This is where the Giants have not performed well this year. Third and short. Manning turns. It is a run. First down for Jennings. Huge run to the 31. It's going to force Miami to use timeouts, perhaps.
That's old school Tom Coughlin right there. Let's get into a two-back set. Let's run right behind Nikita Whitlock. Back up left guard, Dallas Reynolds, number 61 in the ball game. Justin Pugh is checked in at left tackle. Eric Flowers is out of this game. How about that for having confidence in that left side?
Manning checks the formation, maxes the play clock. First down, shotgun run. 2 yards for Jennings.
And Ndamukong Suh needs to get back in this game. That's why he's here. I mean, you got to get out there and find a way to make a play to get this ball back to your offense. Hot night, highest paid player in the National Football League. Got to find something in the tank.
Dan Campbell timeout, down to 1 left, trying to put all the eggs in this basket to make the stop here. Eli Manning, his highest completion percentage in a game, just under 79% against Arizona 7 years ago out in the desert. Tonight, 86%, 25 of 29. You mentioned the 4 touchdowns. Over 80%. The Manning family, Peyton's had over 80% completions 18 times. Archie didn't do it. Eli hasn't done it in his career. And talk about a game where they've thrown it at least 20 times. So chance for a record percentage night with completions, but more importantly, a huge first down awaits the Giants. With just 1 timeout left, he'll throw here. It's complete on the slants for Harris at the 45-yard line with 2:53 to go.
It's that catch and release out of the gun. You just can't defend. Sharp slant for the first down, and Eli Manning is on fire. He read the blitz perfectly, got right to his sight adjust. Hard to blitz Eli Manning when he's onto you.
Giants a first down away from closing this game out. Miami can get the ball back with around a minute left with no timeouts. If the Giants continue to run it, they can stop it twice, the Dolphins. It's Jennings with this carry to midfield, and Miami will take the timeout here at 2:12 for the second down snap. And then after second down, you'll have the 2-minute warning come for that third down snap, provided the Giants still pick up a first down here.
Miami just looks worn out to me. And Ndamukong Suh checking back into the game. Jordan Phillips, their rookie nose tackle, number 97, looks exhausted. Pad levels high. And the Giants look like a team that is far from finished. They're coming off the ball. They're capturing the line of scrimmage. And they're doing what Tom Coughlin wants done. Finish the game in the fourth quarter when you have a lead. This can be a huge confidence builder for the Giants if they can get this done.
The receivers on the proper side here. 2:12 left. It's 2nd and 5. Miami's out of timeouts. A run here forces the 2-minute warning to be the next stoppage. It's Jennings in the middle. Pulled back by Suh at the 49-yard line. And it'll come down to 1 play here for the Dolphins and the Giants. 2 minutes left. Giants lead by 7. That close for a tie in the division.
Closing out games hasn't exactly been the Giants' specialty this season as we hit the 2-minute warning in Miami. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. Giants playoff push is on right now. Coming up, the GMC postgame report. I'll be joined by Ray Lewis and Trent Dilfer and Steve Young on SportsCenter at night with Scott Van Pelt. Scotty's rejoined with his old pal Ryan Russillo. They'll break down the night in the NBA and Scott's take on Pete Rose still not going to the Hall. Could be a dance fest too as well, Mike. Immediately following the game. Back to you, John.
All right, Steve, thank you. Giant fans, you know the Dallas game, you know the New England game. The Giants, will they run the ball in this situation or throw it? A first down will close the business. Miami's out of timeouts. A run takes 45 seconds guaranteed off the clock. 3rd and 3, and they will throw with Manning. It is ruled complete for Beckham for a game-ending first down.
Who else? Gutty call by Tom Coughlin. Throwing the football. Looks like a clear catch.
They're going to look at this upstairs.
The previous play is under review.
Dan Campbell unhappy with it. They'll review it. If it's a first down, the Giants can end the game. Field that was complete. We looked during the break. Didn't look like there was enough to overturn the call on the field. If that is the case, the Giants are 3 knees away from a first-place tie in the division. Greg Rolstead.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. It is a catch and a first down.
Dan Campbell was unhappy. He was looking for a push-off there. So the Giants went, John, in the pressure moment with their two best players, Manning, Beckham. Ball game.
And they went to their signature route. Timing pattern. It's an 8-yard little pivot route on the outside that stays on against bump and run. And Eli Manning has been awesome tonight. You don't go 27 out of 31 for 340 and 4 touchdowns in the NFL without being on your game.
Giants a couple of knees away from closing this baby out. So the Giants will get this win. It would get them to 6-7. We'd have a 3-way tie in the division. See, the Giants have the undefeated Panthers coming to MetLife on Sunday. Buffalo and Arizona, the opponents for Washington and Philadelphia at home. Dallas is now 2 games back of 3 teams. And, of course, the Week 17 closeout with the Giants in Philadelphia. The Eagles have Washington and the Giants, these 2 division games remaining against the teams that are tied at the top. This loss will eliminate Miami. It will also secure the AFC East title for New England. Eli Manning, best night in terms of completion percentage in his Giants career, 87%. He broke, as a matter of fact, the Giants record. Kerry Collins had an 85% game in terms of completion percentage. So Eli sets the Giants all-time record for completion percentage. And more importantly, John, this team that has not closed held the ball for the final 4:39 of this. And we have a 3-way tie atop the NFC East with 3 weeks to go.
You said it at the beginning. Adversity, negativity, it doesn't affect Tom Coughlin. It doesn't affect Eli Manning. They've been through it before. They just will not go quietly. And I'm sure Ron Rivera and the Carolina Panthers respect what they have to do next week.
And these longtime friends going to keep those jerseys from the other guy. Landry targeted 18 times. He had 11 catches and 99 yards. But Odell Beckham had 7 grabs, 166 yards. And he had the 2 touchdowns that were the difference maker tonight. Washington, Philadelphia, and the Giants all 6-7 atop the NFCs. Our final score tonight from South Florida, the Giants 31, the Dolphins 24. Sports Center, the GMC postgame all ahead. But in a moment, the Gruden Grinder. And I disagree with John. Come back and find out.